Good afternoon or evening, wherever you may be. This is Carrie from Wildflower Art by Carrie.com. And happy Easter for those that celebrate Easter. It's a beautiful afternoon here in New Mexico, a beautiful Sunday. And I wanted to do a garden tour, first one of the season. I've been doing a little bit of greenhouse activity throughout the winter to kind of keep viewers entertained, things down in my greenhouse, but it is spring here now. We're all starting to be blooming and everything is coming in nicely. We actually had a very early spring. In March, we had temperatures for 1 week that were reaching the high 80s and low 90s, which we were setting records, which is unordinary. So with that being said, a lot of my vines, like the trumpet vine and then this wisteria that we're looking at right now, bloomed out early and leafed out early. So my wisteria usually doesn't come into bloom until closer to the mid-end of April. But because of that warm weather we had, it pushed out its bloom buds, and we have lots of blooms that are beautiful and smell absolutely delightful. So I wanted to do a live so you all could see it and hear the bees. I'll be quiet so you can listen. I don't know if you can see them all buzzing around, but the bees are just in love with this wisteria. So a little backstory on my wisteria vine. My husband and I moved into this property in 2014, and it was probably half the size, and we moved in January. So the previous owner didn't take good care of it. Eula, I am in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, United States. So the previous owner didn't really take good care of it, and it was just this gnarly little vine that was sticking out of the ground, and it was all wrapped, entwined in itself, and that's what wisteria do, because if they have nothing to hang on to, they just will start entwining on themselves. And I didn't know what it was because it was January. I said, well, let me leave it and we'll see what happens in the spring. And I kind of trimmed it up a little bit, and spring came, and I ended up with probably just one of these little panicle blooms that popped out, a little tiny one or two. And I was like, oh, I wonder what this is. And it was a Chinese wisteria. So I ended up babying it for the next few years and building the wall around it, in which it actually is starting to lean. I have to trim it constantly to keep its shape, so I kind of have it bonsai'd. But if we look down below, let's see if I can get over here. You can see where it's gotten heavy, and it actually rests against the wall now. So it likes its little spot here, but usually in the spring, it'll bloom about late April. And then at the same time, my peach irises are in bloom with it. And I'll have to post a picture once I put the video on my TikTok page. But the peach irises are usually in bloom in tandem with it. But like I said, because we had 90-degree, high 80s, 90s, in March, thank you for saying it's beautiful. The temperatures made it bloom early this year, so they didn't get to bloom together. So my irises will probably be blooming again closer to end of April, mid-end April into May, and I'll be sure to share some video and photos of that. But that's the backstory of my Chinese wisteria, and I keep up with it because she, in the summer, goes nuts. Vines everywhere. Looks like Medusa. The vines sticking out, and I got to keep it trimmed, and compact, and I like its shape, and I love the old trunk. This wisteria, like I said, we moved in 2014. It was half the size. So I'm thinking this wisteria is probably close to 20 years old. But it's a neat little shrub. I love it. And the bees love it. And if we're lucky, we get springs with blooms like this. There's times though, last spring, it started to put out its blooms, and we had a snow and a freeze come in and nip them all. So we didn't get to see them. It froze them, and that was the end. We didn't get what we have right now, this beautiful display. So I'm very happy this year. Each year you just don't know if you're looking at the weather and you're like, oh, and when I saw 80s and 90s in March, I'm like, oh no, it's gonna stimulate her to put out her blooms, and we're probably gonna get a freeze. And actually Friday night into Saturday, we got down to 36 because we had a front move in to kind of cool things off. And luckily it didn't nip the buds, and nip her blooms off. But anyway, she's beautiful. I love her. I do sell canvas prints. If you go to my TikTok bio, you'll see my link tree, which will take you to where you need to go to shop. And you'll see about 2 springs ago, I had the pictures of them bloom, this in bloom and the irises at the same time, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. Yes, this is a Chinese wisteria. So, but pretty fitting for Easter. Yeah, it looks mystical, yes. Yeah, and I keep it trimmed like a bonsai, like a big bonsai, you know, which kind of, I just love seeing the structure of the trunk and stuff. So I got to keep up with her, because come summer she'll just be putting out vines like crazy. So I got to cut things back, and so it keeps its shape. But let's take a little walk around the garden, and I will show you what else is going on. I have lilacs here coming in. They smell good too. So between the Chinese wisteria and the lilacs, it just smells beautiful. Now the Chinese wisteria smells like a lilac, but sweeter. And this little lilac, I got from my city of Rio Rancho. Every spring they do a giveaway, and they give away like 4 or 5 little seedlings wrapped in paper towel. So this one I got a couple years ago, and it's doing well too. So it's a little trunk down there. It was just one little stem with a root, so it's doing really well. I call this my south garden because it faces the south part of my yard. And again, I am in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. That's looking down towards Albuquerque. And these are the beautiful Sandia Mountains. This is our backyard view. So we love it here. Yeah, I had a lilac tree in the yard. So did I. I'm originally from Maine, and we did too. And I loved them every spring. Just look forward to that smell, you know. So I am going to be replacing my soaker hose in this garden here. So I have this out. I was transplanting this little arborvitae. It was right up against this muhly grass, which I cut back, and it needed some space, and I broke my line, and I can't get it back in there. And the soaker hose is a couple years old, and we have very hard water. So if you try to bend it, it snaps like a twig. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're just gonna pull the old soaker hose. We'll put new in and get this up and running. So there's my new, kind of laying out in the sun, softening up. And I'm hoping to do that this week, so I can get this bed going and get the irrigation. And I love the soaker hose because I put it underneath the mulch, and it keeps the water in, especially with our arid, hot climate out here in the summer. It keeps my beds looking beautiful. So turn on the zone for about 30 minutes a day, and it just keeps everything happy. So I got another trumpet vine here on the end, and I got some boxwoods and Texas salvia and pink muhly grass. So, and then my screen here is this is my Vego garden from the Vego company, V-E-G-O, like Lego, but Vego. And I have my eggshells and all my kitchen scraps in there, ready to go. I'm waiting for it to warm up to put new soil on top and start some seeds. This is all where my veggies go. And I screened it in, my husband and I, last year because I have a problem with those moths, looper moths and the brown moths. They love to get in there and like eat my lettuce and broccoli and anything they can get their little mouths on. And once those moths lay the eggs, the worms hatch and become a problem. So anyway, this will be ready to go soon. And we put coffee grounds, eggs. We do a lot of avocado, so I have a lot of avocado pits and peels. You can see there. And then like any scrap, we cut up apples and the peels go in here and scraps and oh, it looks like I got a cucumber starting there on its own. That's funny. I have this chives here. This is a perennial that comes back every year. So peppers, anything kitchen scrap that's clean pretty much. Any veggies we cut up, we just have a little canister, and then we have a tumbler, and then I empty the tumbler into here. So, and then I'll smash these eggs before I put the layer of soil on top. So it'll be all nice and broken down. But this is what the garden looks like right now, my patio. If you go to my TikTok page, I post, sorry about the bumps there. I post pictures from last season and several seasons before of my patio gardens. So this is what it looks like now in early spring. Not much is happening. I do have some larkspur coming up here. They're kind of more of a cold weather little annual. And then I got little Johnny jump ups in there and some stock flower. That stock flower lasted all winter. Made it through. We had a really mild winter this season, so it wasn't too bad. But I took my Japanese maples out of the greenhouse because it's too hot for them, so they like to be out. This one's just starting to put out little leaves, and then this one's got pretty reds and green leaves. And you can tell it was getting hot because she's scorched on the tips there. So I said, okay, you need to come out of that greenhouse because it's going to fry you. So they like it up here now. It's cooler. Today was about mid-70s. My pampas grass, I forgot to set up my camera, but I ended up chopping that all down. But the honeysuckle's coming along. That'll be blooming soon. See the bees all drinking? These are honeybees. They love the bird bath.